the Knitty Stew podcast. My name is Leanne. I am the Knitty Stew. Stew is short for stewardess. If you're new to my channel, I am a Canadian flight attendant and a knitter, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about all things fiber related and knitting, and I take you with me out into the overnight cities that I have the privilege of checking out while I'm on overnights for my job. So welcome anyone new, and welcome everyone who is returning and visiting with me today. I'm so glad you're here. I am here today in the city of Montreal. Bienvenue. I am an Alberta raised gal and do not speak French, which is a real misfortune for me, sadly, but I'm going to do my best to channel my inner Selma of Little Big Knits. I just love the way she pronounces everything so correctly. So yeah, I won't pretend that I speak French. And yeah, I'm a little sad about that. I learned a lot of French from watching Sesame Street, and then I had a really rough experience in grade 4 with my French teacher. I would never get it right. So even saying like bonjour, he'd be like, no, it's bonjour. I'm like, I can't even say hello right. So I think that just discouraged me, which is sad. But anyway, regressing into childhood, but bringing it back to the now. And first of all, I will start, as I usually do, with a land acknowledgement from where I'm filming today. Today, I am on the unceded Indigenous lands of the Kanien'kehá:ka Nation, who are recognized as the stewards of the land known as Tiohtià:ke, or Montreal, which is a gathering place for thousands of years for many First Nations. So my land acknowledgements are meant as to be respectful and to pay honor to the original caretakers of our land. We need to reconcile with our Indigenous population here in Canada. It's very broken, and I think it's on an individual basis. So that's why I do that. And I would encourage anyone who's watching to, no matter where you are, to maybe research the Indigenous lands where you are and see if you learn or what you find. We can learn so much from the Indigenous wisdom, and I honor that today. So welcome to a very hot, very humid Montreal, or as Mark Twain called it, the city of 100 steeples. It was a scorcher, 28 degrees. I think it's 28, 29 right now. That's 84 Fahrenheit for my American friends. But with humidity, we are nestled right next to the St. Lawrence River, and it is hot. So it was more like 31, so 87. And so I'm sitting here in the air conditioning, staying cool in my first thing I will talk about, which is yarn related. And yeah, it was a great day. I'm so happy to be able to film and bring you this episode. Yeah, what's on the flight plan today? Okay, I've got 3 finished knitted items, and I've got some other show and tell, and then I've got 3 whips. I have 2 prize packs for the 10K giveaway. So thank you everyone for being patient, and for everyone who's subscribed here. This channel is such a gift to me, so thank you so much for everyone who subscribes and signs up for notifications for when I post new content, which is usually between 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes sooner, but usually about once a month. Yeah, and there will be 2 giveaways, and I've got some prize packs compiled for y'all. Then I'll have footage, of course, of Montreal and my excursion today, and then wrap it up at the end with some back galley chat. I wanted to enunciate that a little bit better because I think it sounded like I said back alley chat, like finishing, like stay. Galley is in like on the aircraft, our little kitchen area at the back is kind of where we have our, sometimes we have heart-to-heart chats back there, so that's what I was trying to be cute, aviation sayings. That's kind of how I figured I'd wrap up the episode today. So please, I invite you to grab your craft of choice and perhaps a beverage. I am hydrating with water and as much ice as I can possibly fit into a glass. First thing is what I'm wearing today. This is an item I made last year, May of 2022, my first Ranunculus. And I used a stash I had on hand. It is 100% hemp, and it was 5 balls that I had purchased on sale. I was very late to the Ranunculus party, but it's very lightweight. The design is by Midori Hirose. I don't think it really needs much of an introduction. I did a short sleeve version, and I was so pleased with myself because at the end I ended up with 8 grams left. Yay! That's pretty good. So I had 5 balls, 8 grams. I knit it with US 7s for the collar and then a US 8 for the body. And I wore this about town today. And I think I'm gonna bring it out because I only wore it once last year, which is kind of silly. I don't know if the Ranunculus will ever go away. I think it just keeps reinventing itself in different seasons. So this is we'll call this one my summer Ranunculus. And that's what I'm wearing today. My first finished object I don't have on hand with me. I sent it off to the UK. On my last episode, if you were here, I showed off, I'll put a picture up here, Princess Charlotte's bonnet. And I was using some leftover yarns from Dye For You, a little fingering weight project. The Princess Charlotte's bonnet for 3 to 6 months size, and sent it off to my husband's cousins, their first baby over in the UK. And they did receive it, which is great because when I went to post it, the person at the Canada Post counter said it was likely to be 4 to 6 weeks. And I was like, well, hopefully it still fits by the time it gets there. And yeah, it arrived within 2 weeks, so that was nice. And they said that they love it. I did like making, it's a free pattern. I enjoyed making this little bonnet. My finishing work might not have been the best, but yeah, I think it's still super cute, a bonnet on a baby. Actually, all of my finished objects are small accessories because if you were here on my last episode, you know that I was heads down in studying and working on all of my e-learning and preparing for some big training that occurred at the end of June. So I just had to have small little projects that were quick. And then I was also working on some other more complicated things, but yeah, the only things I did finish were little items. And the second one is the scrubbing mitt in Home Life. Oh, my favorite colors. This was gifted yarn from PurlSoho, and I didn't wash this. When you wash it, it goes all fluffy. And it is 100% cotton, which has these little nub tabs spun into its core, which gives it a cool texture, which is why I reached out to PurlSoho and asked if I could try it in the first place. I did make one face cloth knit flat, and this time I was like, you know what, I am going to use metal needles. So I made this mitt. It's a free pattern, and I used magic loop to create this one, and it was still a bit hard on the hands. For like, the yarn itself is not hard, it's just knitting with cotton, and with the nubs, when you go to pull it through, they catch. So not a fast project, like you can't just sit there and just, you know, mindlessly knit away. I had to watch to make sure I was getting between the stitches and picking them up correctly. I also was knitting away and thought, you know, I should just, you're supposed to do garter stitch in the round, so knit 1 round, purl 1 round, knit 1 round. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to knit every round, and I realized that I was like not allowing the fluff, like you didn't see the poofies as much, so I ripped it out and started over a second time. If you're a beginner knitter, I wouldn't necessarily suggest it because, again, it's hard to see where the actual yarn is to stick your needle in because of all the nubs. What do they call them? I don't think they're called, oh, they call them cotton tabs. I call them nubbins. And yeah, so it wouldn't be that easy for someone who was new to knitting. The end result, I think, is really, really great with a bar of soap, perfect gift. And that's finished object number 2. Not much more to say about that one. Finished object number 3. I mean, please don't be mad that I'm showing fall themed items because it's still summer, but before we know it, it will be Halloween. So I made this little headband. It's called the Spooky Ear Warmer collection. So there are others. It's a test knit. I was lucky to be able to test knit for, this is RosiePosieKnitCo. I made Stephanie's spooky hat in 2021, and she creates lovely colorwork charts. Yeah, I'll put this on for you so you can see. A lightweight headband. I cast this on, and about 2.5 hours later, cast it off. Yes. I've got a few other of her colorwork patterns in mind as well. She has a really cute Christmas theme one called the Reindeer Romp. There's also, Lucky Charm beanie. That would be fabulous for St. Patrick's Day. And she also has some other ones that aren't themed around holidays. There's one called the Crystal Trellis Cowl. And yeah, I'm a big fan of accessories and colorwork. This pattern will be out July 21st. It will be released on July 21st. And the other cute charts, there's a black cat, ghosts, a cauldron, pumpkins, and then, yeah, I did the spider. It goes in infant, toddler, child, adult. So 4 sizes. Yeah. So no issues with the pattern, super straightforward. I used my Norwegian knitting thimble again. It's getting used. And I'll show you my floats. So most of these floats were pretty close together, but at the very top, they were super long, and I didn't catch them. Didn't catch a single one. So that's, for me, I think that's a result of using the Norwegian knitting thimble, which, if you were not here for my experience with it, I found it was slipping around on my finger. Someone had suggested I use some silicone, so I put some silicone in the inside so it stopped slipping. And I am using my Norwegian knitting thimble. So that was finished object number 3. My next objects are not knitted up items, and if you are following me on Instagram, you're probably like, oh my gosh, Leanne, you spammed the heck out of us this past couple days. From time to time, and generally it's summer, when it happens, I get the natural dyeing bug, or just the dyeing of yarn bug. And I was so inspired by Oleanic Knits. I'm not sure if you follow her. She's a Canadian podcaster out in Newfoundland, and she did an artist residency and was getting incredible natural dyed colors from the stuff that was around her, like on the land. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time for some natural dyeing. So thanks to Heather for that, for the inspiration. And also thank you to Cabin Boy Knits for a wonderful tutorial on dyeing with avocado, skins and pits. I will link that below. I will link everything I talk about below, and some of it might totally be forgotten because it was a red-eye flight out here and I napped for about 4 hours and 6 minutes, give or take a minute. And so I get tired and kind of rambly and I forget what I'm talking about. So, okay, so my finished objects. These are my yarn successes. I'm gonna definitely call it that. Avocados created these. Okay, like, I've been dabbling in dyeing since 2020, and specifically my natural dyeing, I've found that to be a very humbling experience. You think you're doing it right and following it step by step. I took a class on Craftsy, I believe, and learned how to mordant and learned how to write stuff down and try and figure stuff out. But this is my most successful natural dyeing yarn adventure to date. So I won't wax on and on about it because this isn't a dyeing podcast, this is a knitting podcast, and I've got lots of other stuff to share. But what I will say is I'll just explain what I dyed on, and again, for successful results, I credit that with Cabin Boy Knits, Christopher from Cabin Boy Knits. He just talked me into like cleaning the pits very, very good and clean so that there was no residual leftover avocado meat in the skins or anything. And then I just, slow and steady was the pace that I had to go. And the other thing that I think might have made a difference in creating such a pretty good vibrant palette that I got was using rainwater that I'd collected. And also, what was the other thing? Oh, I added a bit of baking soda to the dye bath before I let it sit overnight, and then I dyed the next day. So this here, okay, first up, this is Rambouillet. 100% Canadian grown Rambouillet sheep from Gaynor Homestead. This is originally what I was gonna just do was like one skein, and because all I had was 8 avocados. And when I saw what was happening, I'm like, what else can I dye? So I grabbed something that I'd already dyed, which was this Coupeworth DK. And I dyed it in Osage. Is that how you say that? I'm not sure. Or Osage. It's another natural dye. And this comes from Longway Homestead, also grown and milled in Canada, out in Manitoba. And it created like a yellow, buttery yellow color. But this rust, when I put that yellow into the pink or red colored avocado, created this like fox color. It is actually a little bit lighter. I'm losing the sun right now, but if you want to check out my Instagram, this got pretty accurate color. So this is what happens when you use superwash. So my friend Leslie was sending me little yarn surprises in the mail, and this is 100% merino superwash. It's from Knit Picks, and it's merino wool. It's like dusty rose. Like this is this is like an 80s color big time, but it's very deep, it's very rich. And just, if you are a dyer, just so you know, there was no mortarting required. Like that's a beautiful thing about avocado. It has its tannins. I believe the tannins are coming out of the pits. Amazing. And finally, I've been gifted these lovely super chunky Italian yarns from my friend Tracy, Oliver Rain Knits. These are 100% extra fine merino wool, and it's super bulky, and it turned dusty pink. This was the last thing I put in the dye bath before it pretty much exhausted, and I think they turned out really beautiful. What am I gonna make with these? I have no idea, not a clue. Okay, before I get into my works in progress, I'm gonna insert the footage from my excursion here in Montreal today. Please enjoy. I'll meet you back here when that's over. As one of Canada's largest and most famous cities, there's no shortage of fun and interesting Montreal facts. Located in the province of Quebec, Montreal is the cultural capital of French Canada, and it's been one of Canada's largest cities for most of its history, second only in size to Toronto. Back in the 1970s, Montreal was the biggest city in Canada. Current metro population of Montreal in 2023 is 4,308,000. Montreal is an island, and the island is bigger than Manhattan, New York City. Montreal was originally called Ville-Marie, founded in 1642 and incorporated in 1830 to Montreal. It is one of the oldest cities in North America. The first Olympics ever in Canada was in Montreal in 1976. It was the Summer Olympics. The island of Montreal has over 15 bridges. It is the land of restaurants. This beautiful city is home to the highest number of restaurants in Canada per capita. Montreal has an underground city filled with shops, restaurants, and a lot of goodies. Montreal was built around the mountain called Mont Royal, which the city was named after. Fun fact, no building in Montreal can be taller than the cross on the Mount Royal mountain. The first official hockey game was played in Montreal on March 3rd, 1875. The Montreal Canadiens have won the Stanley Cup more than any other franchise in the National Hockey League. What you're seeing here is the world-famous Notre Dame Basilica. It's a masterpiece of art attracting an estimated 11 million visitors per year. including myself. I popped in. It cost me $15 Canadian, and it was quite stunning. So I have some statistics regarding housing prices. For June of 2023, the average cost of a single-family home in Montreal was $606,000 Canadian, and a rental for a one-bedroom in Montreal came in at $1,655 Canadian a month. Montreal is the fourth largest French-speaking city in the world. There are 150 foreign consulates in Montreal, the second most of any city in North America after Washington, D.C. Montreal is home to two Fortune 500 companies, Power Corporation of Canada and the Bank of Montreal. Other famous companies that started are currently headquartered in Montreal include Air Canada, Via Rail, Le Chateau, Bell Canada, National Bank of Canada, Dollarama, Rona, and Cora, just to name a few. The Port of Montreal is the largest inland port in the world. It replaces the historic Old Port of Montreal. Montreal is the second largest media center in Canada and the most important center of French language media. People from Montreal are called Montrealers. Roughly 67% of Montreal speak French as their mother tongue, whereas 92% of them have a working knowledge of French. Over half of the residents are also fluent in both English and French, which was very helpful to me as I don't speak French, I mentioned, and anywhere I went, as soon as I just said hello, they would switch over and start speaking to me in English. Montreal is home to 21 major parks, with Mount Royal Park being the largest. Montreal is built around Mount Royal, where it derived its name, and the park was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, the same person who designed Central Park. So Montreal, I have to say, was probably one of the most stunning cities I've ever experienced in Canada. So eclectic, just beauty everywhere you look, and I really appreciated the chance to get out there for 38 hours was my layover, and I loved every minute of it. Also happy to report that I was able to navigate and find my way to a yarn shop in Montreal. It was straightforward, and I love that because after my London, Ontario fiasco, one bus took me straight to Espace Tricot. I had been there once before in 2017. That was prior to the new owners, the lovely Naomi and Stephanie. They have just the most beautiful shop. There are many yarn shops in the Montreal area. I believe there are 6, but I had to choose one, and this is where I ended up. Please enjoy the eye candy. Without a doubt, Espace has such a beautiful selection. It's a very warm and welcoming retail space. The brands they have from A to Z, along Avocado, BC Garn, Blue Sky Fibers, their own brand, Tricot. There's Brooklyn Tweed, Camera Rose, Drops, Durham Natura, you name it. Oh, and we can't forget Sonder Yarns. She was on holidays. I believe she has a dye studio upstairs from them, but yeah, the lovely dyer behind Sonder was away on holidays. This here is their sample wall. I've never seen so many beautiful samples, and a lot of the patterns that Espace, I think maybe even all of them that they do, and I believe they're by Stephanie, are free. So it's a great place. I'm so glad I went there for my destination. I ran into some other people who were from BC actually, and they had a good time in the store as well. Anyway, if you are in Montreal area, please head to the Moncton Avenue, or Monkland, not Moncton, wrong province, Monkland Avenue, which is where you will find the beautiful Espace. So I just had to add this last video and photo here. Something very interesting happened to me on day 2 in Montreal. Just before I was heading back, I decided, I better go try some of the famous Montreal bagels, which are unique in that they are poached in honey water instead of getting poutine or Montreal smoked meat. I ended up rather far from my hotel, and I was sitting in the park enjoying a beautiful day and an Americano, and I hear, "Hi, is your name Leanne?" And I look over and I say, "Yes, it is." And there's a lovely lady there walking her dog Bo. And this person is Brenda. Brenda is a subscriber from, of all places, Alabama. So I'm in Montreal, 3+ hours away from home. She is from Alabama, and we both run into each other in Montreal. We just thought that was very serendipitous. Hello to Brenda. I think that was really neat. So I hope you enjoyed that footage of Montreal. What a stunning city. I really enjoyed how beautiful it was. I've never stayed downtown before. I've always stayed either at the airport or on the outskirts of town. So this was a real treat today. Okay, works in progress. Next up, you've seen this before if you've been here before. This is my Humulus pullover by Isabell Kraemer. Coming right along. It was nice. It kept me company while I was studying because I'm in the body now and just knitting around. I am not knitting this with natural fiber. This is stuff from my stash, and it's an acrylic blend of all kinds of stuff. What drew me to it was that it's got this shine. It's called Metallic Luxe, and I had lots of balls of this because it went discontinued, and so I bought like what Michael's had left. And yeah, I've gotten probably to the place here where I'm going to start knitting the ribbing. I actually had to text my buddy Tracy and be like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with positive ease, and I've just never made anything without positive ease into the pattern, and like I'm sort of accidentally getting positive ease because I didn't gauge much. But I think I might be okay. I have tried it on a couple times and it looks like it might be okay. After I finished the colorwork motif, I forgot to go down a needle size, and then my gauge was getting pretty big. So what I do, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but I didn't want to go down too far in the needle size, like right down to a US 6 4mm. So I'm using on one end of it of my Chiagus, I'm using a US 7, and on the other one I'm using a US 6. So I've got 2 different needle tips, and hopefully the 2 of them together will be the right combo. I was also thinking I should maybe start the sleeves next and decide how long before I do the bottom, which is something that I think is that can be helpful so that you get the right length that I want. But anyway, I've just really enjoyed knitting on this. I love the colorwork motif. So many people have made this, and I'm glad I finally made one. I'm gonna have to probably do it again in an actual wool yarn that I really, really like. But yeah, this is my Humulus, work in progress number 2. I'm keeping track of what's the back and what's the front with this super cute progress keeper. My sister Wendy and her friend have started this online business called Mud Pie, and they make, this is a turnip, I think, or is it a beet? I'm not sure what it is, but all I know is it's super cute. They're making little polymer clay stitch markers and progress keepers, super cute, and she let me have that one. Okay, work in progress number 2. Oh, this is a cerebral one and I'm loving it. This is the Kentia tee. It's a free pattern again by, I want to make sure I mention who this pattern is by, because I really think this is a very talented designer. Marie Amelie Designs. And I'm loving this lace yoke. It's requiring, obviously, concentration. I'm separating the sections. It does increase within the sections, but it's a bit intuitive. Or maybe I'm just getting better and better at lace. Not 100% sure if that's just me, but lace used to be a bit more intimidating for me now, and I guess I'm just better able to concentrate. I love that the repeats are relatively small, so the chart itself, it's only 12 stitch repeat. Is it 12? Yeah, it's 12. So where am I? I'm at round number 39 and I go up to 50. So once I get to 50, then I switch over to the other color, which I've chosen. So this here is Crux Fibers in the Beaver Lodge colorway. It's Corriedale Stock by Brittany of Crux Fiber. And what a great way to use one skein and then contrast it with another awesome skein. This is Amelia and Philomene Adeline base in the natural colorway. So this is going to be the color of the body. This was from my reclaimed Stephen West mystery knit along that I didn't do and ripped out. So I'm going to use the leftovers that I have and finish the body in the natural. So a few more lace rounds, so then she suggests blocking it and then starting the body after that. Great little pattern. Let me know if you've made this one. I think it's going to be a stunner. We'll see. I can't wait to block the lace. So that's been really fun. Oh, and I'm knitting it on US 3 needles, and it's going pretty quick actually. All right, another garment here for my final finished, not finished object, my final work in progress. I'm making the Frisky Leaves tee, which I will insert a photo of here. This pattern is from Jill Karina, and I got this pattern and was watching Cal Knits. She has a lovely podcast. She comes from Australia in Melbourne, or Sydney. She's in Australia, and she test knit this design, and I loved her finished object, and I thought, okay, let's just cast on another summer top. I want to make all the summer tops. This is how far I've got. Okay. All right, it's kind of hard to show here, but it is a paid pattern, and the finished ones on Ravelry look absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to the way the leaves are going to spread out, and I chose to do it in this beige colorway. So I've knit with Sandnes Garn Lena, but I've never knit with Sandnes Garn Tynn Lena. So I went to order it up. First I was going to do it in terracotta, Sandnes Garn Tynn Lena. So I reached out and went online to Statement Junkie, who's a lovely friend up in Edmonton, Sherwood Park area. She didn't have that colorway, and then she generously said, I'll gift you, what other color do you want? And she sent me 4 balls of beige, which is color 2331, to make this Frisky Leaves tee. So thank you so much to Andrea for that. I'm going to work away on it, and hopefully I get it finished before before fall. I think if I have just these 3 and stop casting on every summer tee, there's so many I'm seeing. I'm like, I want to make that one. I want to make that one. Yeah, I definitely feel inspired. What's the other one that everyone was making? The salty air tee. I bought that pattern last year. Haven't made that one yet. Yeah, only so much time, but yeah, we'll see. I have more training coming up again. I did my specific training for the wide body aircraft, but I also have annual training. So I gotta knit when I can, but sometimes, you know, life gets lifey, and we'll see. This might be it for my, I don't even know if you could really consider this a summer knit, but it is lacy and it should be rather lightweight. But yeah, this stuff definitely. Let me know if you've also knit with Tynn. This was my first experience, and it is very, very thin, but I think it's going to be a very wearable garment over like some summer dresses. I did find some summer dresses because I was going to try to sew, and that definitely isn't one of the gifts that I have, but we can learn new things. However, I was doing some math and I'm like, okay, so I don't have a sewing machine. I would need to buy pattern, fabric. Yes, there is wonderful satisfaction in making your own garment. Especially for me, summer dresses, like I found one that I bought. Again, I bought it at a secondhand shop and it fits me perfectly, but there's only so many times I can wear this, my paisley sundress. I've been wearing it for years. So I was like, maybe I will just mimic it and make other sundresses. And then I was like, yeah, when I crunched the numbers and realized that was not probably gonna be a good thing, I actually found some dresses. They are from Amazon, so please don't come at me, because I think they're really cute. Like I'm wearing one right now. This is like, it's got pockets and like just like a little crisscross top part, and I got a couple of different pattern ones, and it's got a bit of cotton and a fair bit of like stretch spandex, so they came from Amazon. Anyway, all that to say, I would like to knit some more crop tops, and even shorter than this, so that'll make for some fast knits. So maybe I will get a few more summer knits in before the end of the year, before fall hits, but we'll see. That's everything for my works in progress, folks. Next up, if you would like to stick around, I would love to do a bit of chat. And before I jump into the chat, cannot forget the giveaway. It's the 10K giveaway package. Oh, I had fun compiling this. I made 2 prize packages and I chose a travel theme, which, I mean, hey, that really lines up, doesn't it? Thankfully, at the same time, my friend in Cumberland, BC, the amazing Christine of Wool and Waves Yarn Shop, please go check her out. She wanted to collaborate, so I think the lucky winners are going to be very happy. She has created what's called the Travel Club 2023, and she has some Canadian independent dyers who created specific colorways for some of her favorite travel spots. And she has gifted me June and July. July isn't here yet, so I will insert a picture, but prize pack number 1 is this beautiful Lily and Pine Mexico, Let's Go to Mexico it's called, 80 merino nylon daylily sock. Look at that. How beautiful is that? And it also comes with this handmade matchy stitch marker from a Calgary maker. I will insert her name here because it's eluding me at the moment. So this is the yarny part of the giveaway on prize pack number 1. But then I also got a couple of other fun little things that I hope you'll like. Sorry for the crinkling. This is a really lovely luggage tag company, Power Trip. So each package will have one of these luggage tags that you can attach to your bags. Hopefully you'll be traveling. And if not, it's really cute to put on your purse. Power Trip. And then I've got this little change purse. The bright side is the right side. And a little tropical face mask to brighten, tighten, and escape like the tropics. Little face mask, little pampering. And finally, I have this really great flight elixir. I'm not sponsored of it in any way. It's called Flight Food, and it is a very natural supplement you can put in your water, and it helps a tremendous amount with jet lag, fatigue, dehydration, all the things that travel can bring. So I'm going to put one of those in each prize pack. So the colorway for July is Cuba, and I'll put the picture right here. And it will also come with these extra little travel themed gifts. So I hope you like that. Thank you so much, everyone, for subscribing to this channel and for being here. And we're continuing to grow, and as a community, it feels really, really, really good. Okay, how to enter. This is the deal. I thought it would be kind of fun to find out we're halfway through the year. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger, but right, it's middle-ish of July. What is one project, one knit that's in your queue that you are 100% going to make before the end of 2023? That's what I'd love you to enter into the comments, and I will use the random comment picker to pick 2 winners. So there'll be 2 picked for my next episode, is put in what project are you going to make before the end of 2023. Okay, if you're sticking around, this here is back galley chat, where I just wanted to pick a project that I don't have to concentrate on. So I'm going to work on the body of my Humulus and just catch up with everyone, pretend we're having a knit night. It actually is getting quite dark, so I'm gonna talk fast, hopefully not too fast. Yeah, since my last episode, and I mentioned the big training for wide body aircraft, that went really well. So yes, I am a certified 787 Dreamliner flight attendant. It is official. So it takes a little bit for the paperwork to submit, but once that's in, I'm able to bid for overseas flights, and I did that for August. So we'll see how that goes. I really don't know if I'm senior enough to get anything that I'm asking for, but we will see. The training itself was, I was very excited. Like the more I was learning about that type of an aircraft, the more I was like, wow, this is pretty fancy. It is, I think it's going to be a lovely bird to fly on. So it went really well. It wasn't overly stressful, to be honest. I had prepared quite well, I feel, and training for me is one of those things that I really like to be over prepared for, and I totally go into my nerdy side and start writing notes down and thinking of ways of memorizing things. And I think once that all, falls into place, I feel ready and prepared to do my exam. So successfully evacuations and learned how to operate and emergency procedures, etc. But the key of it all is going to be getting on the aircraft, scratch and sniff, if you will, so I get used to it and the layout, and it's a lot bigger of an aircraft, but I think it's going to be great. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks for all your lovely comments about it, saying congratulations and that you're excited to come with me international. I definitely want to keep my Canadian flying as well, because there's locations I haven't been to and I haven't shown you yet here in my home country. But it might be a really good thing mental health wise to try something new. And yeah, especially being here in Montreal today, I was like, this is the taste of Montreal is a taste of Europe, I think. So going over to Scotland, Ireland, eventually maybe the Netherlands, or yeah, all of those places, I know that they're probably it's gonna be dreamy. So anyways, got that out of the way. And then something just absolutely smacked me in the face hard. After the last episode, I woke up to emails from YouTube like very aggressive emails from YouTube saying, we have put a copyright violation against your channel and we have taken down 10 videos. That's half of my videos as a result of a copyright infringement. And it was a legitimate email. And I was, what? Gobsmacked. So I got in touch with YouTube, and it was in regard to my intro song, which I've purchased and paid the artist and have his email address. And thankfully, he was right on top of it. He said, I didn't submit a copyright infringement. You paid me to use my intro music and there's no issue there. But YouTube held all 10 videos. They disappeared. They were essentially gone. What? I was like, well, that would be awful if that would have stayed that way. But all the videos are back up. So that happened, and I'm glad that it's all resolved, but it was very, very stressful. Oh, and then so like ups and downs. So the ups, my daughter had her 22nd birthday, and for her 22nd birthday, she wanted nothing more and had been saving for a purebred cat. So she had her heart set on a British short hair and was thinking about a kitten, and there's a breeder in I believe, middle of Alberta, and there came a cat available, a British short hair cat available, not a kitten. Well, I'd say it's still a kitten, like less than 2 years old, and my daughter fell in love with it. So for her birthday, we helped her get my grandcat, Ivy. She is adorable. The other family that was interested in adopting her and buying her, they had, I think, 2 dogs and 3 kids, and poor Ivy is a very mellow cat and would definitely do better with a 22-year-old girl in an apartment. So the breeder was very kind, was able to negotiate a little bit on the price, and now my daughter has Ivy, the cat of her dreams. I think her full name, it's Ivy something Taylor Swift. So that's new. Other new members of the family, I went down to my sister's acreage, which is just south of Calgary, and got to meet her goats. She got 2 goats at the beginning of July, and very quickly, less than a week, there were 7 more. Or, is that right? 5 more? Anyway, she had a schwack of goats, and I'm here for it. Love them so much. So far the names, we've got Woody, Joaquin, and Willow, and then the original 2, Ziggy and Zelda, which some of you helped name on Instagram. So goat love. Oh my gosh, they're so cute and very, very sweet. Haven't got out to the camping thing yet. Dave, my husband, actually got an assignment rather than just being on call. He got a 3-week assignment, so we're holding off on our camping, but we'll get out there. I'm sure of it. Currently in Calgary, many of you may know that it is Calgary Stampede time, so Calgary is packed. Like, it is wall-to-wall people. It's the greatest outdoor show on earth. It is a rodeo, and it's pretty cool. There's fireworks every night and lots, just a great spirit. Like, people are so happy to be gathering and getting their, doing all the fun things that we did prior to the whole shutdown of the world thing. So that's really nice to see that the city is thriving. I think that's all that's new right now. Yeah, healthy, happy. Hope you are as well. I feel like I might be forgetting something, but at this point, I'm losing my light. I'm starting to feel like I'm all the heat from the humidity. I'm just like, I really appreciate you joining, and I hope you like the back galley chat. And for what it is, it's pretty informal, but yeah. Oh, I'm not sure if you saw I posted it on my Instagram. Again, some people aren't on Instagram, don't know any, or if you're just on YouTube, but I had the lovely experience of being interviewed interviewed by Arena of Fiber Chats, and she aired it on Canada Day. And I've watched it because I'm like, I don't know what I said. I hope it's okay. But what a lovely interviewer. And I think it was, it took a bit of, I was like, I don't know if I really will be good at being interviewed. I was actually in communications. That's what I took in college, but I've never myself been interviewed. So I was, when she reached out and asked if I would be interested in doing a Fiber Chat episode, I was like, it took a second. I didn't reply for a few days, and then I got back to her, and I'm really glad I did. We had a lovely chat, and we're kindred spirits. So please check out her channel. Yeah. Well, that's it for me. I'm gonna power down now and do the editing on this video and get it uploaded and head back to Calgary tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here and for your comments. Good luck in the giveaway for the 10K, and whatever you're up to, I hope you are finding joy in it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time on the Knitty Stew. Bye.